Okay, once you slide the fan bracket underneath, we can continue getting the last screws in the board. Next, we want to install our CPU. Take this lever, flip it back, verify the orientation of your CPU. This has two detents on this side and this side that match up with the board. There's also a corner marked down here, which has that same corner marked on the chip. And gently place it in there, make sure it's aligned. Flip this down, make sure it's seated under the screw, press it down, and lock it underneath. As you do that, the cover will come off automatically. Set that aside. Now we want to get our fan installed. So we'll remove the cover that's on the bottom of the fan for the thermal paste. And you can tell the pre-applied thermal paste isn't very even. Some spots that are almost non-existent over here, and it doesn't cover the whole surface area. So we're going to take our own thermal paste. We're going to apply a standard pattern across the board. We don't want too much slack on our cable where we install it. We've got a CPU fan here, it's labeled fan 2. We've got a CPU fan here, it's labeled CPU fan 1. So this length will be a good position for this fan. So we're going to bring it down, make sure we align it for the screws over the holes, and we're going to screw that in. There are springs underneath these screws so that we don't force that CPU into the bed. So, crisscross pattern, just like you're tightening lug nuts on a car, tightening down anything where you want it to be even pressure. Don't go all at once on any side. We can plug the fan in. And that's done. We can now install our DDR4 RAM. There is a position here, so it only installs in one direction. You can see that It installs this way, but it will not install this way. So we're going to be installing it in this first slot. So we'll open up the detent on the side. Nice even pressure, straight down until you hear it click into each side. Next, we need our power supply. We will be using that DC to DC ATX power supply. I believe they also use these on ITX boards and a lot of other applications. These ones come set for 12 volts, but we're not going to be using this plug. Instead, we will be using this PCI plug. These have two 14 gauge supply lines on them. I will cut that line. Strip it. And then we'll cut and strip the cables on the end of this as well. Take our two black lines, pick your fastener of choice. In this case, we're going to be doing a quick wing nut. Take your two red or yellow, or in this case purple and yellow. Attach those together, and all this frayed mess good. So secured, and we have power. This first plug has a clip on this end. It's going to be our 24-pin motherboard connector. Insert that until it fits in nicely and clicks. Our second is going to be our 8-pin motherboard connector. Clip is on this side. Insert that over there. If you are using an SSD, you can use the SATA power to power your SSD. This one we are going to be running off of a flash drive for now, so we can insert the flash drive. Hook up our power supply to our breakout board, and we can hook our breakout board onto our server power supply, and it just slides on. The only thing we're missing from here is to insert a GPU. for testing purposes. In this case, I've got an RX 580. It needs a 8-pin, single 8-pin connector. And we can insert that into our first port on the board. We'll insert our 8-pin into there, and our 6-pin into the breakout board. We'll go over to the computer and we will upload our operating system. In this case, we're going to be doing a Hive OS Linux system. I'll show you how to do that onto your SSD, or in this case our flash drive. You're going to need at least a 16 gigabit flash drive to run this operating system.